What if I told you that one of the most powerful winter goddesses was hidden inside of a children's fairy tale? Today, we're gonna peel back the veil on Frau Holle, the shining one, the stormbringer, the goddess of midwinter, simultaneously beautiful and hagwitch. If you love dark goddesses, magic, witchcraft, and folklore, then you're definitely in the right place because you are gonna love this. Hello Celestial Darkling, if you are new here, I'm Zila Ferraco, the founder and the High Priestess of the Nightshade Sanctum Mystery School, a witch school and priestess path for incredible women who are called to walk in the world of magic and mysticism. And I'm so excited to talk to you today about Frau Holle, who has become such a massive part of my personal practice. Frau Holle is a pre-Christian goddess found primarily in Germanic, Alpine, and Northern folk religion, and she has many names. She is known as Hulda, Hilda, Perchta, Berchta, and many others. She also has equivalents found in other cultures, for example, in Scotland. And as a hagwitch, she is very closely associated as well with Kaliach. She has parallels with Baba Yaga and other incredible, dark, divine, feminine crone archetypes. Essentially, she is a goddess of winter, particularly the midwinter season, the 12 nights of Yule. And historically, in the ancient world, especially before we had fluorescent lights and, light switches that could just shine a light in the darkness, back then it was really a time of deep winter mysteries, terrifying folkloric stories that just light me up with how extraordinary and dark they are. It was a time of monsters where beings prowled the night in the dark. And so this time, the 12 nights of Yule was traditionally spent indoors in devotion, walking a spiritual path of reflection, as well as connecting with community and family and feasting. But that truly is a topic for another video. Today, I want to tell you more about Frau Holle. In her pre-Christian iterations, she was much more a goddess of nature, really associated with the weather and the storms, and frankly, with seasons all round the year, as she was an embodiment or a manifestation of the earth itself. She was also a keeper of the dead and a guardian of thresholds and threshold times. In her post-Christianic version, she takes on a much more domestic role, and this has a lot to do with that patriarchal monotheism. This was a patriarchal monotheistic religion that had strict views on the role of the woman and the feminine within society. When Christianity arrived in Europe, Frau Holle didn't disappear. She came to be associated with versions of the feminine that served the patriarchy. So for that reason, she took on the role of the housekeeper, and also she was associated with women's work such as spinning and weaving, which are actually deeply magical acts. But again, that is a topic for another video, and I am actually holding a witchy workshop about the magic of spinning and weaving, working with knot magic and string in January, so don't forget to check that out if you're curious. Frau Holle really took on a role associated with justice and judgment, and she tended to punish those who did bad deeds or who were lazy and indulgent, and she would bless those who lived in integrity, alignment, did their work diligently and in a disciplined and timely fashion. With her association with spinning and weaving, she also becomes a goddess of fate and the otherworld, as well as with the cycles of life, death, and regeneration. Frau Holle really has a powerful dual nature. So in some of her stories, she appears as a beautiful, shining maiden maiden or mother. And then in other versions of her tales, especially around the winter months and that darker time of year, she is associated much more with the hagwitch, with the crone energy, and also as a being or an energy that is wild and ancient. In some regions, Frau Holle leads the wild hunt and the restless souls of the dead through the sky during the winter months, or those threshold moments such as Beltane or Walpurgisnacht, or Samhain and Halloween. In future videos, we will jump into more about her hagwitch nature and also her association much more deeply with the 12 Nights of Yule and some of the much darker versions of her. If you're curious, I am actually running a workshop on the 19th of December where we will jump into the winter goddess in a lot more detail. So if this is the kind of thing that lights you up, then come and join us in that workshop. It's going to be a lot of fun and incredibly informative as well. Frau Holle is also connected with the Norse cosmology, with scholars placing her alongside figures like Frigg, Freya, and Hel. Most likely she is equivalent to Hlodin, or the wife of Odin, mother of Thor. We're going to jump into the Grimm story, Mother Hulda, or Frau Holle, and just know that this is just one tiny facet of who she is. There is so much more to this immense and vast goddess. Just know it is actually also called Goldmarie and Pechmarie. But this is the Grimm's Fairytales version of the story, which you will see there is so much to unpack. So grab a cup of tea, get comfy, and enjoy the story. Our specs are so dirty. There was once a widow who had 2 daughters, one of whom was pretty and industrious, while the other was ugly and idle. But she was much fonder of the ugly and idle one because she was her own daughter. The other was her stepdaughter, and who was obliged to do all of the work and be the Cinderella of the household. Every day, the poor girl had to sit by a well in the highway and spin until her fingers bled. Now it happened that one day the shuttle was marked with her blood, so she dipped it in the well to wash the mark off, but it dropped out of her hand and fell to the bottom. She began to weep and ran to her stepmother and told her of the mishap. But she scolded her sharply and was so merciless as to say, "Since you have let the shuttle fall in, you must fetch it out again." So the girl went back to the well and did not know what to do, and in the sorrow of her heart she jumped into the well to get the shuttle. She lost her senses, and when she awoke and came to herself again, she was in a lovely meadow where the sun was shining and many thousands of flowers were growing. Along this meadow she went out, and at last came to a baker's oven full of bread. And the bread cried out, "Oh, take me out, or I shall burn. I have been baked a long time." So she went up to it and took out all the loaves of bread, one after another, with the bread shovel. And after that she went on till she came to a tree covered with apples, which called out to her, "Oh, shake me, we apples are all ripe." So she shook the tree until the apples fell like rain, and went on shaking until they were all down. When she had gathered them into a heap, she went on her way. At last she came to a little house, out of which an old woman peeped. But she had such large teeth that the girl was frightened and was about to run away. But the old woman called out to her, "What are you afraid of, dear child? Stay with me. If you will do all the work in the house properly, you shall be the better for it. Only you must take care to make my bed well, and shake it thoroughly until the feathers fly, for then there is snow on the earth, for I am Mother Holle." As the old woman spoke so kindly to her, the girl took courage and agreed to enter her service. She attended to everything to the satisfaction of her mistress and always shook her bed so vigorously that the feathers flew about like snowflakes. So she had a pleasant life with her, never an angry word, and boiled or roast meat every day. She stayed some time with Mother Hulda and then she became sad. At first she did not know what was the matter with her, but found at length that it was homesickness. Although she was many thousand times better off here than at home, still she had a longing to be there. At last she said to the old woman, "I have a longing for home, and however well off I am down here, I cannot stay any longer. I must go up again to my own people." Mother Hulda said, "I am pleased that you long for your home again, and as you have served me so truly, I myself will take you up again." Thereupon, she took her by the hand and led her to a large door. The door was opened, and just as the maiden was standing beneath the doorway, a heavy shower of golden rain fell, and all the gold remained sticking to her so that she was completely covered over with it. "You shall have that because you have been so industrious," said Mother Hulda, and at the same time she gave her back the shuttle which she had let fall in the well. Thereupon the door closed, and the maiden found herself up above upon the earth, not far from her mother's house. And as she went to the yard, the cock was standing there by the well side and cried, "Cock-a-doodle-doo, your golden girls come back to you." So she went in to her mother, and as she arrived thus covered with gold, she was well received both by her and her sister. The girl told her all that had happened to her, and as soon as the mother heard how she had come by so much wealth, she was very anxious to obtain the same good luck for the ugly and lazy daughter. She had to seat herself by the well and spin, in order that her shuttle might be stained with blood. She stuck her hand in a thorn bush and prickled her finger. Then she threw the shuttle into the well and jumped in after it. She came like the other to the beautiful meadow and walked along the very same path. When she got to the oven, the bread again cried, "Oh, take me out, or I shall burn. I have been baked a long time." But the lazy thing answered, "As if I had any wish to make myself dirty," and on she went. Soon she came to the apple tree, which cried, "Oh, shake me, we apples are all ripe." But she answered, "One of you might fall on my head," and so went on. When she came to Mother Hulda's house, she was not afraid, for she had already heard of her big teeth, and she hired herself to her immediately. The first day she forced herself to work diligently and obeyed Mother Hulda when she told her to do anything, for she was thinking of all the gold that she would give her. But on the second day she began to be lazy, and on the third still more so, and then she would not even get up in the morning at all. Neither did she make Mother Hulda's bed as she ought, and did not shake it so as to make the feathers fly up. Mother Hulda was soon tired of this and gave her notice to leave. The lazy girl was willing enough to go, and thought now that the golden rain would come. Mother Hulda led her also to the great door, but while she was standing beneath it, instead of the gold, a big kettle full of pitch was emptied over her. "That is the reward for your service," said Mother Hulda, and shut the door. So the lazy girl went home, but she was quite covered with pitch. And the cock by the well side, as soon as he saw her, cried out, "Cock-a-doodle-doo, your pitchy girls come back to you." But the pitch stuck fast to her and could not be got off as long as she lived. So we're going to talk about some of the symbolism that pops up in this story. Now, the first major symbolic element in this story is the well. And this connects the story of Frau Holle with the descent to the underworld, or a journey through the otherworld. In its essence, the well represents the veil, the one that we can step through in order to access deeper levels of the psyche, the inner world, the unseen realms, and the realm of the gods. And this also mirrors shamanic journeys and the traditional goddess journeys through the underworld, just like Inanna Ishtar traveled through the underworld and Persephone as well, including many others. This connects Frau Holle within a powerful lineage of the divine feminine that is associated with the deeper, darker realms. Next up, we have the mention of spinning. And spinning is a deeply magical and symbolic activity in folklore and beyond. Spinning is the work of the Norns, the Fates, and the goddess. It connects the goddesses with the cosmos itself, the spinning of the tapestry, the process of creation, the creation within which we live, with destiny, and also with the process of magic and manifestation. Because when we cast a spell as a witch, or when we achieve a goal as a human, essentially we are engaging in that cosmic act of manifestation, taking something that didn't exist or maybe existed only as an idea and a desire, and creating it, bringing it forth into the real world. We also see Frau Holle acting in the role of judgment or justice in the story. Here she rewards those who deserve to be rewarded, and she punishes those who do not. In many ways, she is like the angel of judgment. Then there's also the apple tree and the oven, and these symbolically represent the agricultural process and the cycles of nature. They're symbols of connection with nature, but also connection with hearth and home. And together they also represent the cycle of labor and rest, of high summer and midwinter. And so here we see that this is a goddess who reminds us that there is a time for work, and when that time is there, we should work. But there is also the time for rest, which we see powerfully in her association with the midwinter and the 12 nights of Yule. All of this together shows us that Frau Holle is not about blind justice. She's about truth, and she's about empowerment. Her type of justice, her flavor of justice, isn't moralistic. It's about alignment, inner alignment and also outer alignment. In other words, alignment with ourselves and our true values and our integrity and our higher selves, but also outer alignment with nature and with community. It comes down really to energetic balance. Like many goddesses, the root of this mystery is authenticity. It's being yourself, but also aligning and connecting with those energies of devotion, discipline, sincerity, and authenticity. Frau Holle, I mentioned before, is associated with domestic tasks and with the household. And again, this is not mundane work. This is work that is closely aligned with the seasons, actually. And so it has a rhythmic nature to it, a cyclical nature. During certain times of year, the work is more likely to take you outdoors in the sun, maybe in summer, especially during the harvest season, the planting season, and so forth. And then in those darker parts of the year, that work will take you indoors, where you're going to spend more time maybe cleaning out cluttered closets and spinning and weaving and sewing and doing the tasks that don't require you to be exposed to the harsh elements and the darkness of winter. Her role here in household work, definitely there's an aspect here of the Christianic view of womanhood and femininehood and the so-called rightful place of the feminine within the patriarchal framework. But definitely, especially in her more ancient aspects, Frau Holle is more about nature itself, connection with nature, connection with the sacred cycles that govern all life. There's also a spiritual, devotional, and dutiful component to this work. In the winter months in particular, this work takes on a devotional element, and it is about working for a task and a meaning or a purpose that is so much greater than the self. There is also a community aspect to it, because a lot of the woman's work was the glue that held the society, the community, the family unit together. Through working with Frau Holle, we are also called to consider our impact beyond the self and what is our community aspect and role, and how can we better be of service to humanity as a whole. Now, we also have the symbolism of the gold and the pitch, and essentially what these represent is the energetic consequences. Gold represents the benefits, the payoff, the blessings, that energy of abundance that rewards hard work, and also that rewards alignment, because we don't have to necessarily work hard to be in alignment. It's more about being in flow and in sync with the cycles, whereas the pitch is associated with the negative consequences, the punishment, the darker aspect, with being associated with stagnation and being stuck, with ignoring intuition, with ignoring responsibilities and not holding ourselves to a certain standard of self-discipline or of devotion. Pitch is also the consequence of refusing the call, because just like the journey through the Otherworld or the realm of Frau Holle was for these two sisters, essentially this is a journey of initiation. It's a call to a higher purpose and to aligning more powerfully with yourself, just like all of the Catabasis myths, and as I mentioned before, the descent of Inanna, one of the most ancient, incredible stories of the divine feminine, and also one of the most ancient stories in mythology as a whole. Essentially, when we descend to the underworld or we traverse the other world, we are being called into a more powerful version of ourselves. And whether we answer the call and we walk through the sacred initiations of that journey determines the outcome. Will it be gold or will it be pitch? You get to choose. The gold and the pitch are also symbolic of the dual nature of this goddess, that she can hold both light and dark aspects in herself, a massive characteristic of the divine feminine as a whole. And that in its essence is the duality that we all carry inside of us. And we should never try to just be good or perfect. It's rather about doing the best that we can, looking at progress, not perfection, and then also doing the incredible and sacred work of shadow work. In many ways, what Frau Holle does, and as a goddess, if you work with her, she mirrors your integrity back to you. She mirrors your faults back to you. And so she has this powerful truth-revealing aspect where she helps you see yourself more clearly. So here are a few ways that you can work with Frau Holle, and I highly recommend her as a personified deity to work with, because she has transformed my life, and I have no doubts that she could help you transform yours as well. And the first really amazing way that you can work with her is to honor the rhythms and your natural energetic balance. Working with Frau Holle helps you to set up a rhythm where you're not going to end up burnt out or dealing with negative consequences. She's all about keeping you in a flow and a rhythm that brings you to the abundance and the payoff in the future. You get to choose in working with her. Are your future results the gold or the pitch? So what I recommend for you is to choose one personal or spiritual task to do this week and follow through on it. That is a beautiful way to honor this incredible goddess. Another tip in working with Frau Holle is to create your offerings to her to be through work and not through trinkets. At the end of the day, like many of the goddesses, Frau Holle does not give a shit about your empty promises and your trinkets and your pretty little offerings. What she is much more interested in are your offerings of work, of labor. Are you doing the things that maybe you don't necessarily want to do, but that are good for you and others? The kinds of things that are devotional acts that maybe require a little bit of discipline and getting out of your comfort zone. Those are exactly the kinds of offerings that are going to be deeply sacred to this incredible goddess. Some examples include cleaning a part of your home that you haven't been able to get to, maybe long overdue, or completing a task that you have been avoiding, or doing something that restores order and flow in your life. And my final tip in working with Frau Holle is to really honor the seasonal, sacred, devotional midwinter practice known as the Rauhnächte in some Germanic areas, or the 12 nights of Yule. And if you are interested in learning how to develop your own personal seasonal winter practice, then definitely sign up for my workshop on this topic that we're having on the 19th of December this year. It's going to be amazing, and we're going to talk exactly about this topic. For now, things that you can do is you can set out a bowl of porridge for Frau Holle at that time of year. You can place seasonal offerings as well, items that represent the midwinter and are associated with this goddess. Spend those 12 days in rest. Very, very important, because that is honoring the seasonal flow. And that also means, in many cases, getting the work done beforehand by the 24th of December as your deadline for getting the work done that you needed to get done, so that you can, in good conscience, rest during the 12 nights of Yule, starting from the 24th of December until the 6th of January. You can also do a home blessing. She is very much associated with hearth and home, and this is a great way to honor her in your practice. And reflect. A lot of reflection on the previous year's efforts and work, and planning as well for the future 12 months, for the next turning of the wheel of the year. And if you want to invite her into your life and work with her immediately, you can simply put your hands over your heart, close your eyes, and say, Frau Holle, Lady of Winter and the Shining Realms, work with me, walk with me, guide me, align me, blessed be. Okay, so just to recap, Frau Holle is an incredible goddess of winter with the otherworld, associated with the cycles of nature, with the righteous, with justice, with the rhythm and the deep darkness of winter. She is a beautiful dual emanation or manifestation of the divine feminine, carrying both light and dark aspects, both maiden and mother, but deep representation of crone, wisdom, and hagwitch energies. She is truly immense, way more ancient than you could imagine based on these cute little fairy tale versions of her. And she is a portal and a window to aligning with your highest and best self. In future videos, we'll talk more about her other aspects, her more hagwitch forms, her association with the wild hunt, the 12 nights of Yule, and also I'll let you know some of the tarot decks and tools that I love to use when working with her. If you love all things magic and folklore, and particularly goddesses and dark goddesses, definitely stick around. Leave a like, subscribe, and don't forget to drop a comment below and let us know in what capacity have you heard of her before? Have you ever worked with her before? Have you even heard the fairy tales? And don't forget to sign up for my Winter Goddess 12 Nights of Yule workshop that is happening on the 19th of December. It's going to be incredible. I can't wait to see you there. Comment below with a goddess or an aspect from folklore that you would like to explore more, and we can address that in a future video. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Much love and blessed be. She's a beautiful maiden who is very aligned with I can't remember. Oh, I'm overheating. A little story break. Okay, I'll put this over the chair. Overheating. Comment below and let us know what other aspects from folklore or from the feminine or fairy tales would you like to learn about less? Next. Not less. I thought I'd been talking for ages. C'est la vie. An hour of recording, a full day of editing. That's how these things go. Okay, that's it from me. Bye!